Talking too much. That's a problem this one sometimes has.
No, I don't talk too much.
Hey guys, what is up? I'm Max.
I'm Wenji
and welcome back to Reacticorns. Today we're going to be checking out some more true story animations that actually happened.
I love these. Let's watch.
Yeah, the first one is called My Dad Thinks I'm Dead.
What?
Excuse me?
Can't you just show your face? Or do you think you're a ghost?
Let's have a look.
I'm not proud of what I'm about to tell you, but in my defense, I was only 14 when it happened. Okay, my mom died when I was little, so it was just me and my dad. You'd think that would make us really close, kind of us against the world, but I don't think he ever really wanted to be a parent. He always had something more important to do than spending time with me. Of course, I tried everything to get my dad's attention. One time I got into so much trouble that the police brought me home. I hoped my dad would get angry or show some sign of him being worried about me. But instead, he was just annoyed and told me I was an embarrassment.
Wait, but you said you wanted him to get angry and then he got angry.
Well, he said he just got annoyed, but isn't that similar?
Yeah. Well, there's your reaction, dude. You got it.
Also said I should sort myself out because I'd be an adult soon and would have to look after myself. I was so mad at him, but I tried one last thing to get his attention. I packed a bag with all the things I need to live on my own for a few days. Then I waited for a big storm, and when it hit, I went down to the beach with our canoe. Then I put a few empty pain pill bottles into the canoe and shoved it.
Oh, I think I know what he's doing.
This is crazy.
He's faking his own demise.
He did one thing, which was graffiti. And then step 2 was this. That is a big jump. That is like a large gap between the extremities of these reactions.
I let the canoe drift away to make it look like I'd fallen overboard. Then I checked into a cheap motel using a fake ID. I don't really know what I was expecting to happen next. I wasn't even sure if my dad would notice I'd gone. 2 days later, I put on a hoodie and sunglasses and went to buy some food. When I saw the local newspaper, I couldn't believe it. The headline said, 14-year-old missing in the ocean. Apparently, hundreds of people were searching for me.
Oh no! You pranked everyone, not just your dad.
National search for this kid. Dude.
They'd even sent out the search and rescue helicopters. In that moment, I felt so ashamed. I never thought so many people would go looking for me. I just wanted my dad to show he cared. I didn't know what to do, so in the end, I just went to the police and told them what I'd done. They took me home to my dad, but he wasn't happy to see me. All he could do was go on about how much trouble I'd caused him.
I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's not just the trouble you caused him. You caused trouble with pretty much your whole town. Some helicopters that could have been doing something else. Probably cost a lot of money to send those helicopters in.
You literally just pranked everyone, and then your dad's annoyed at it for all the trouble that you caused. That sounds very reasonable to me.
Yeah.
What was he expecting? His dad to like say how much he loves him?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't like this one.
I was very disappointed, and the next day, I left him for good. I never went back and never called him again. It's hard living on your own when you're 14. I had to lie about my age to get low-paid jobs, and life was tough for many years, until I hit 18 and I joined the Navy. It was the best thing I ever did. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged, that I was surrounded by people who were family. I'm still close friends with most of the people who trained with me. Unfortunately, after a couple years, I broke my ankle badly and was discharged. Luckily, I discovered it wasn't too late to go to college. I found a cheap community college, which was all I could afford, and I graduated at 25. College changed my life. I met my wife Sissy there, and we have a daughter together. Being married with a kid isn't always easy, but I tell my wife and child I love them every single day. I know how painful it is to live without feeling loved, and there's no way my daughter is going to grow up thinking her dad doesn't care. My childhood was tough, but it doesn't define me. Just because my dad didn't love me doesn't mean that I can't love my daughter and my wife.
He didn't know what he was
Yeah,
doing.
he turned out alright in the end. I would say that his tactics to get attention were probably not the best.
Nope.
And not the best planned out tactics.
Nope.
But in the end, he turned out alright.
Yeah.
Do not fake your death as a cry of attention.
Yeah, that's the rule of the day.
The next one is called Had to Miss Grandma's Funeral for an Exam. What? That sounds weird.
Hello, my name is Mia. Do you know the story about the boy who cried wolf? Well, something like this happened to me. Once in school, I was really tired and wanted to go home, but I couldn't just leave whenever I wanted. So I had to come up with an excuse. I acted like I had stomach pain, and after a visit to the nurse, where my acting skills truly shined, I was free to go home. I was amazed by how easy it was to trick teachers into believing something like that. Soon, I was using tricks like this regularly.
No.
Sometimes I would come up with an elaborate story about how I couldn't do my homework or test because I hurt my hand. And like a true master of disguise, I would have my hand completely bandaged up. Other times, I would leave school saying that I forgot my keys or that I needed to go to the doctor.
Wow, full of excuses.
Right.
She's a master of like disguise.
It is a vicious cycle to go down. It
Yeah,
gets
once
worse
you get
and
away
worse.
with a little bit, you think you can get away with more. Once you get away with more, you think you can get away with even more.
Not good.
And yes, I would go as far as forging documents to give to my teachers as proof that I actually visited my doctor. Usually, I would either go home or to my grandma's house because she would feed me food that only grandmas are capable of cooking. I loved my grandma because we were very similar. Both of us had a dark sense of humor and an adventurous spirit, so she always laughed when I told her how I escaped from school this time. Although, she would say that I probably shouldn't do something like that too often. I'm very ashamed of it now, but once I really wanted to see a new movie, and during the evenings, movie theaters were usually too busy. So I lied and said that my grandma died, and I needed to go to her funeral so the teacher would let me leave. You might ask, why would I do that? And, well, it's because all my usual tricks weren't effective anymore. You see, one day I needed to do a presentation and I wasn't ready, so I did what I do best. I put on a scarf and pretended that I lost my voice. And I did it for several days before the presentation, so everyone would believe me. Yeah, I even tricked my classmates, so nobody suspected a thing. I was caught by complete accident. One of my classmates had a squeaky chair during one lesson, so he changed it to a better one. But then he accidentally dropped it on my toe while dragging it back. I screamed. Everyone, including the teacher, looked at me, shocked. The only thing I could say was, wow, my voice miraculously came back. Needless to say, teachers didn't really believe me after that, so I had to stop. A very important...
Caught out in a lie.
Yep.
That's what you get. Eventually you're gonna slip up, right?
important test was coming up soon, and I was studying for it. My intention was to really study and get a good grade. And then my grandma died, just like that. I would never hear her laughing at my stories again, or eat her amazing food, or even see her. It broke me down. But also, my test was at the same time as the funeral, so I talked with my teacher about it, explaining the situation, and she answered, "Oh, your grandma died again? Or is it a different grandma?
Oh,
Stop
no.
it, Mia. You're not going to be able to get out of this test." I was shocked, but I also knew it was my fault. Nobody would believe me in this situation. I called my parents and explained the situation to them, but they were angry at me for using Grandma's death as an excuse before. So they said I had to deal with it myself, especially because they were very busy with organizing the funeral. So my final plan was to go take the test, finish it, and get to the funeral as fast as I could. I was sitting there, and I really couldn't concentrate. My tears were falling down on my paper because I couldn't stop thinking that I was missing the funeral because I was such a liar. But I kept trying to finish this test, despite not being able to think about anything else except my grandma. And my tears didn't really help me, because I pulled this trick off before, and the teacher thought I was pretending. I went quietly to my teacher and said, "Please, let me go. My grandma really died." But she just answered, "I don't believe you, Mia. Sit down and finish the test." I had to make a decision, to fail this very important test that would have a huge effect on my overall grade, or to try to finish it. I decided that my grandma's funeral was more important than this test. So I stood up and left the room despite my teacher's protest.
Oh, look at that. Can we play that again? That was gold.
You look like a dancing chicken.
I ran as fast as possible, changed my shoes, and immediately called a taxi, spending all my savings to be on time for the funeral. Everyone there was crying, and I was crying even harder than anyone else. I couldn't believe that she wasn't with us anymore. And what's worse, I could have lost the last chance to say goodbye to her, even symbolically. Later, after a few days, my parents talked with my teachers a lot, explaining the situation, but also finding out the extent of my lies. They were really angry with me, although Dad was a little impressed too, and said to the teacher that they would be much more strict with me from now on. I retook the test and passed it, and now my parents were monitoring my activity and checking up on whether I was in school or not. All of it was very silly, but I do believe that my granny was watching me from heaven and laughing at me finally getting in trouble. I love you, Granny. You were the best partner in crime a girl could ever have.
So what kind of trouble did you get up to at school? What kind of excuses did you make? We know
No.
you did.
No.
We all know it's true.
Nope. Not today. How about you?
I never got in trouble.
Yeah, he was perfect. He was prefect.
Ha 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 ha.
Class president.
Ha 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 ha. Alright. The next one is I told the truth to the wrong person.
Ooh.
Sometimes in life people learn the wrong lessons from their mistakes. This story is an
Hi
example.
guys, I'm Sheila. I just moved to a new school, so let me tell you about the scandal that caused me to switch schools. Ever since I was a little girl, I had a habit of talking too much. I remember one time I got invited to a children's party, and I was all over talking to every kid. When the birthday girl came out, I was surprised with what she was wearing. She wore a very big hat with like 1,000 feathers on it. Couldn't contain myself, as always. I went up to her and said, "Know what? You look like a nest. Got eggs?" Then started laughing. She must have been so humiliated
Oh no.
because her face turned bright red and she said, "Please, stop. They're all looking." True enough, the other kids were laughing too. Until I felt someone tugging at my hand. It was my mom. She could read me like a book and simply said, "Let's go." When we got home, my mom gave me a lecture on it. I recall another time when I was about 12. I knew that Mom ordered something online for my birthday, so when I saw the mailman, I asked, "Do you have a package for me?" He simply shrugged. I felt disappointed, but didn't stop there. I prodded on, "Just don't bring them this Saturday. We're all going out, but our door key is at..." Then I felt my mom yanking at my arms again. To me, it always felt like my mom was spoiling my fun. Until
You don't tell random strangers where your door
Yeah.
key is at. That is
Yeah.
dangerous.
The door key is under the mat where we always keep it.
Yeah, please come into our house whenever you feel like it.
Yeah.
No.
Talking too much. That's a problem this one sometimes has.
No, I don't talk too much.
that time when I was in junior high. I had a classmate who was dating a cute guy. I thought he was gorgeous, and I couldn't believe he would go out with such a plain girl.
What?
So I made an anonymous Instagram account
can't
and took
say
photos
that.
of him when he wasn't looking. Then I photoshopped myself into them, but blurred my face. Of course I wouldn't want them to recognize it was me. Then I wrote sweet captions at the bottom. Until finally, they broke up.
Oh my god.
So I knew it was my chance, but I was so focused on getting him that I didn't realize what was really happening around. Another classmate started hanging out with me. She was so cool and often shared stuff with me, her family stories, her problems, her crushes. Then one time she texted me, "Have you heard of that famous IG account?" I replied, "What account?" But I knew exactly what she was talking about. She texted back, "That girl actually broke the hottest couple at school. She has to be talented. I wonder who she is." I was so thrilled. So I texted, "Why do you want to know?" She replied, "Are you kidding me? She is the topic of the month." I felt so proud. So I decided to tell her. I tried calling, but she said that she was having dinner with the family. So I sent her a voice record. I started telling her about my crush on that guy and my plan. I even double-checked my voice messages to make sure that I recorded all the details. But I told her that it was our secret.
Oh, this don't sound good.
This is a recipe for disaster.
It is also karma.
She's so proud of like breaking up some other couple. I don't like that.
Nope.
You shouldn't be proud of breaking up another couple.
The following day, I waved to my friend when she came inside the classroom, but she totally ignored me.
Oh.
Then I saw her sit beside the ex-girlfriend of my crush.
Ooh.
What? They were friends? A few minutes before the end of class, things got even weirder. All phones sounded like a chorus of beeps, like a spam was sent to every phone. So I nosed around on my seatmate's phone and asked, what was that all about? She said, "Why don't you check your phone, girl?" I was totally weirded out. I scrolled fast to our class's WhatsApp thread, and bam! At the top was my voicemail with a caption that said, "We were right, guys. It was her all along."
Oh.
Karma has come back around to bite you in the butt.
I felt humiliated. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. Suddenly, I received a blast of messages and notifications to my IG account. Just as the teacher was trying to calm everyone down, the bell rang, and I hurried out of the classroom. All the way from the hallway till I reached the school's gate, everyone was staring at me and calling me names. When I got home, I went straight to my room. I had to turn my phone off because I was getting too many messages. I threw myself on the bed. I stared at the ceiling for a moment, trying to realize what had just happened. Then I burst out crying. I didn't go to school the next day, or the following days. I mean, who could, right? That time, my mom didn't yank my arm. She sat with me and we talked. We decided that it's better if I switch schools because I was so determined that I was not going to go back there. Plus, the principal was very mad at me and my teachers were all disappointed. So, I switched schools. I mean, you can't expect me to stay where everyone hates me, right? I changed my phone number too, and deleted my IG account. I learned the hard way, guys. So the next time you say something, think twice, thrice, multiple times. There is a difference between being truthful and being tactless.
Agreed.
Some of those things she did just seem like plain mean, though.
Yeah, very mean. Like making fun of people.
It's like mean-spirited.
It's
not
not
even
like-
just tactless.
If your truth ain't nice, then tell it.
Well, anyway, guys, those are some true story animations that actually happened. They were some pretty interesting stories, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't agree with all of them, but it was interesting.
They all kind of had a theme, like calmer, getting them
That's
back,
right,
you know?
that's right. Anyway, we'll be back again tomorrow with another episode.
We'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Guys, love you.